Hello and welcome to episode 38 of the Indie String podcast. I'm your host, Kay, also known as Indie String on Ravelry and Instagram. And I hope you guys had a wonderful week. I did. I'm trying to figure out my schedule a little bit here while I'm working and doing the podcast and dyeing yarn and doing all of that jazz. So please forgive me if I kind of bounce around. It's seeming as though later in the week is starting to be better for me, so I'm going to try to stick with that, and we'll see how that goes. So I did want to talk a little bit about what was going on in the group and on the podcast. So right now we have a cal going on, and it is Winter is Coming. So it's pretty much anything you knit in the months of September and October. There will be a prize for that, and I think I've decided on Madeline Tosh Sport and a skein of that. And I can do a pattern giveaway of up to $10. So we'll have two prizes. Anything you create during the month, these 2 months, you feel free to submit it and join the chatter thread in the Indie String group. So let's talk a little bit about that. There is many other cals going on. The Fat Squirrel Speak is having a vertebrae cal, and the Knit Girls are having a Halloween knit along, and then the Stockinette Zombies always have the self-striping knit along that they have. So double dip, triple dip if you can, you guys. Try to enter as many times as you can with each project. My rules are pretty loosey-goosey. I like to try to include everything. As long as it involves fiber of some sort, I count it. So if it's spinning, felting, weaving, anything, knitting, crocheting, it all goes in my book. And you can enter as many times as you would like. You just have to be a member of the group and post an FO in the FO thread. You don't have to tag anything. I try to make it easy as possible. I find some of that stuff stressful, so I try to make it easy on myself and easy on you guys. So what else is going on? I have adjusted the podcast just a little bit. I am no longer doing as many pop-ups inside the podcast. Let me know what you guys think, if you really love them or not. It does take me a long time, more than an hour to do those typically. And so I'm just wondering what you guys think and if you really like them. In addition, I've added a section at the end. After I sign off, I'm basically posting the pictures that I had uploaded to Instagram for the week. So come on, follow me on Instagram and you can see them throughout the week. I am trying to be better about posting every few days, if not every day. And that's my goal, is every day. I never make it, but every few days I seem to remember to snap a picture of whatever I'm doing and post it on there, and I am liking it. So come and join me on Instagram, add me as a friend, and then that's it. So let's get into what I am knitting and spinning. So I have had knitting ADD this week. I really have. I haven't been able to focus on much. So what I'm going to just finish the end of my row, and then I will start showing you my projects. Maybe. There we go. Okay. So I have been knitting the Rock Island shawl for like forever. And so for a lot of this year, I've knitted on planes. I've knitted it in my house. And what it is a pattern by Jared Flood. I'm knitting it out of Woolen Rabbits in a lace weight Whisper, which is merino and silk in a club colorway. What you do with this pattern is you start with the edging and then you pick up and you work your way in. And so I have about this much. I've only added like 10 rows, which really 10 rows is like that, you know, from my finger up. It's not very much. But I thought, hey, how much more do I have on this? The edging is actually super simple. It would go fast if I just sat down and concentrated on it. But I'm being really ridiculous about it, and I am enjoying it. It's a good knit. It's fun. But I'm starting to take this to work to knit on my breaks. So today on my break, I sat down and I counted how much I had done, and I have done 46% of the edging. So I thought I was at 50. It was a little disappointing, but I'm super close. So if I knit on this for the next few weeks at work, hopefully I'll be almost done with the edging. And then once I'm done with the edging, I pick up and I work my way in. It's a lot of garter, and so I will move it into a more heavy rotation. But so I did knit on that this week, and I'm starting to bring it to work, which is good. I want to be able to have something just on my desk, so if I forget my knitting, I'm not destitute. So, hold on. Yes, okay. So this is my Fat Squirrel Speak sweater bag. I got it this summer, and it is full because I have been knitting on The Leaving by Ann Hansen. This is out of Madeline Tosh Sport in the Vanilla Bean colorway, and I knit, I can tell you, this much. Like, see, hardly anything. I'm about an inch. I'm about 10 rows away from starting the shoulder seaming, or the shoulder shaping. And then once I start that, it'll go pretty quick. My goal is for this week to have this done, because I really have been looking at all the sweaters that are coming out, and there is like amazing sweater patterns. There was already great sweater patterns, but it has totally fueled my need to start knitting some sweaters again. And so I have promised myself that I cannot knit a sweater until I get this one done, because it's been on the needles more than a year, which is just ridiculous. Let's all be honest, it's totally ridiculous. So until I finish this, which is the last piece, which is the right front of the cardigan, I cannot cast on another sweater. So that's what I've been doing. And yeah, it's going good. And I have totally cemented that I'm going to have more than enough yarn. So this pattern called for quite a bit. I think I had like 8 skeins. 7, maybe it was only 7. But so this is what I have left. I have this much that I'm knitting with right now, which I would say is more than half a skein. I have this 3/4 of a skein right here. And then I have a full skein. So what I've decided is that I'm actually going to give this away for the prize in the kale for Winter is Coming. And I love this colorway, and this is actually one of my most favorite skeins. What I tend to do, which is just ridiculous, I should knit with my favorite in the beginning, but I never do. I tend to take the lightest skeins and the darkest skeins and basically layer them together so that I have better blending, which is what I really should do. But this is one of the more saturated skeins, and then I didn't know I would have so much left over. I had this one last saturated skein, and I had 2 lighter skeins. So the sleeves I did out of the lighter skeins because I didn't want one to be dark and one to be light, and so I have this left. And it's going to be the prize. I love this colorway with the flashes of that lavender and brown. It's just, I think it's pretty. So this is the prize. It's an untouched skein, and hopefully you guys love it. And whoever wins it loves it. Okay. So I've been knitting on that. Hopefully we'll have finished pieces for you next week. Wouldn't that be nice? And then I have started swatching for my next sweater. I'm awful, but whatever it takes, man. I decided I could not take a break, but last night I cast on for this. So this is Pigeon Roof DK, and it is merino silk and cashmere. She actually discontinued this base, so she doesn't sell it anymore. I don't believe so. And so this is the only skeins that I have of this base, and I love this base. It's awesome in this beautiful like golden orange color. And I've been hoarding it for a while now, at least 2 years. So I decided that I would knit the Tanqueray by by Thea Coleman out of this pattern, and I could then wear that to work. So I am swatching on size 5 needles. I'll have this done tonight and soaking. What did I do? I cast on, which is down there, I cast on that nice clean edge, which is the cable cast on, which is called for in the sweater pattern itself. And that's the way it's knitting up right now. It's super lovely. It's very soft, and I think the color is great. It's not the best color for my skin tone, to be quite honest, but I like the color itself. And who's going to come up to me and say, oh my goodness, that color looks ridiculous on your skin tone? No one is going to say that to me. So guess what? I like it. I'm going to wear it. I'm pretty excited about this pattern. It is, again, knit in pieces. And what I have basically learned from the leaving, which I haven't knit a sweater in pieces in a really long time before that sweater, and it's just taken me forever because I messed up a few things. I should have knit both the sleeves at the same time and the 2 fronts at the same time. What's taking me so long to pick it back up is that I made adjustments on the left front that I'm now having to go back and decode and figure out exactly what I did so my right front matches it, so that when I seam it, it will look the exact same. I'm having some difficulties because I didn't write down what I did. And so with this sweater, it is not a cardigan, it's a pullover. So I'm going to knit both sleeves at the same time, and then I'll knit the front and back. But I think I've pretty much learned my lesson on that. I had about the same problem with the sleeves, and it's not so much that it would make a huge difference a row here or a row there. Like if I missed one row or something like that, that's knitted a pretty tight gauge, I'd be all right. However, I'm like ridiculous. I don't want one sleeve longer than the other sleeve. And I just think, what if I miscount? And so I count again and again and again, and I get obsessive about it, and it takes me forever. So it's just so much easier if I do them at the same time. I'm going to do that with this sweater. Of course, again, I'm going to start with the sleeves because they're always what leaves me behind. I'm hoping that the pleasure of knitting with this wonderful, extravagant yarn will help me really kind of power through in this project. I really like the finished object as well, and I'm excited about it. Part of the reason why I picked a seam sweater for this yarn, it does have silk that is very strong, and it has cashmere, which is soft, and merino. However, the silk content isn't a huge amount. I think it's 10%, which gives it a nice sheen and a nice drape. But I do want the seams for construction. For my body type, number one, it looks much better on me. It provides nice curve and flares and everything else for my body that makes my body look way more structured than it actually is, so it's more pleasing to the eye. But the second thing is that even though there's such a small silk content, it shouldn't come into play, but I don't want anything I knit with it to lose shape. It is DK weight, and if I knit an entire sweater in one piece with a yarn that has silk content, for me, I would be afraid it would drape out of shape. It would just start to hang, and it would kind of misshapen on me. And it's very important to me if I invest all this time and all this money and all of this thinking into this finished object. While it doesn't have to be perfect, after it's done, I do want to be able to wear it again and again and again and again. And I have a few sweaters that I have knit that I hardly ever wear, and I'm actually planning on ripping them this year, that have fallen out of shape, and they're just not worth it. So hopefully seaming is the way to go. We'll see. I'll probably not knit a seamed one after this. It's 2 in a row, people, and one took me a year. Okay, let's keep going. All right, I'm gonna take a drink. This is the cup I got when I had my daughter 5 years ago, almost 6. I don't know why I love it so. It's so big and it's insulated. I love it though. I've always loved it. All right, let's move on to finished objects, and I actually have 3 this week, which is crazy. So on Jackie this week is the curtain cowl. I knit this out of a Verb for Keeping Warm, and it was alpaca silk, and it was actually an extra long skein. They still sell the alpaca silk, but this skein size that I got was a show special, and so it was extra big. I do really, I really love it. I wore it around last night. I had knit this in the summer when I was traveling. However, I didn't consider it until last night because I needed the needles. So I went ahead and I finished it up. And this stuff right here is because it was in a bag, kind of crumpled up. So what I'll do is I'll actually go back and I'll steam it. I'm going to steam this. I'll fold it up nicely, and this is actually going to go, I think, into the giveaway pile. I'm already knitting for Christmas, people. It's crazy. And now I started a new job, and everybody knows I knitted, and they're starting to place their orders. But they come last, yo. Families first. Okay. Last week you saw the hat that I was knitting for my daughter. I haven't weaved in the top end because I wanted to make sure it fit her, and I did that tonight, but I have blocked it out. And so it's super cute. I made up the pattern as I went along. It's a garter stitch brim for 9 ridges, 18 rows. And then I went ahead, I changed to stockinette, and when I did it, I increased 10 stitches. So I cast on like 120 or 130, and then I increased, no, 110, and I increased 10 to 120 or 130, somewhere between those two numbers. And I knit this on size 2s, and then I knit 7 inches, I think, 6.5 or 7 inches, and then I did a rapid decrease at the top. And so when she wears it, and it does fit her actually perfectly. When she wears it, it puckers, and it kind of drapes a little bit. I love the sparkly yarn. It's super, super cute. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'll weave this in, but it's all done. She has a relatively small head for her age. She has about, she's in like the 50th percentile. She's super proportionate. So although she's really tall, her body itself is super proportionate to itself. And she looks very normal. Which is good, right? My daughter looks normal. Jeez. Anyways, if I was knitting this probably for any other kid or any other child, I would have increased my stitch count. It is pretty tight on her. I did it on purpose because most hats are either way too small for her because they're too little kid, or they basically get to small adult sizes and they fall off her head. So I knit this to fit her head in particular, and it's very tight. It goes right over the ears. It's perfect length. So anyways, I love it. And all I did on the decreases was I decreased super rapidly. I decreased every 4 stitches. So I knit 3, knit 2 together, and then I knit 4 rows, and then I knit 2 together, and I knit 3 rows, and then I knit 1, knit 2 together, I knit a row, then I knitted, and then I knit 2 together all the way around. And it gave that really nice sort of gathered look at the top, which is what I wanted. So really pleasing. I have tons of yarn left over. That much. So, and another small ball. Hold on. So, the next thing I will be knitting for her is a cowl, but that'll be in a week or 2. So that's the second thing, and I have one more thing. Can you believe it? I can't. So a lady at work is, I got invited to a baby shower that's going to be at work for her. So I was like, wow, I have to bust something out, right? And there's about, I work with about 40 people, and I would say at least 30 of them are women. So there's going to be a lot of women there, and I'm sure she's going to get tons of stuff off our registry, which is fabulous. So I decided that I would knit her something. So I went ahead and I knit the aviator hat out of more last minute knitted gifts, and I use these quite often. I find that they are grouped within times of how long it should take you to knit something. I cannot knit as fast as whoever knits in this book. The times for me are somewhat good gauges for a faster project. They basically start with the fastest projects in the front and work to the longest projects in back, which is great. So I know that what I picked up was a relatively fast project. I think they said it. How long did it take them? Sorry, now I gotta find it. Okay. So, oh, it's called the baby bonnet. See? Isn't it cute? Oh my gosh, it's cute. So the baby bonnet was only supposed to take, I have to go back to 2 to 4 hours. So it really didn't take me that long. It probably did only take me about 2.5 hours to knit this up. It's on size 9s and a worsted weight. And so I haven't blocked it or woven in the ends. I will do that and maybe I'll show you next week. But I knit it out of Dream in Color Classy. And I lost the tag, so I don't know what colorway this is. So I bought, this is Deep Stash, people. Deep Stash. I would say this stash is at least 4 to 6 years old. This is how much of the ball I have left. I will knit, I will probably knit a few more of these and just put them in a gift bin for a later date. So I bought a ton of Dream in Color when I was buying yarn on the Dizzy Sheep. And the Dizzy Sheep is a deal of the day website that has a different sale every day. They're typically okay deals. What makes them great deals is they also have discount codes, especially when they run events. They'll have one discount code per use per event. They do like what they call spin-offs, so they will change it like every hour, or once it's sold out, it will go to a new one. And so I got pretty good deals on all my Dream in Color. And I forgot how much I had when I was pulling out stuff to look and try to find something to knit. And when I knit this, I really forgot how much I do enjoy this yarn. It is great yarn. And so I'm very happy with this. I think it is cute as can be. And it's pretty normal for a non-knitter. I'm hoping the variation isn't too much for her, but I love it. It was super cute, and I will knit another one. So that's my third finished object of the week. It's been awesome. So we're running kind of long. So what I'm going to do is I'll save my spinning story until next week. And then we have shop stuff. So, and then we'll do rants and raves. So what's going on in the shop? So there's a few things I wanted to let you guys know. I got the yarn added to Ravelry. So now if you purchase some, you can add it to your stash. If you knit a project, you can link it in all of its good glory. So I was pretty happy that I got that actually done. And when I was going through and I was typing up and taking stuff from our website to describe the yarn and everything going on, I noticed that I didn't put one of the biggest things that I tried to do anywhere. So I thought I would tell you guys this week. So I love Falkland for multiple reasons, but part of the reason why I chose Falkland is that on the Falkland Islands it's pest free. They don't have pests, so they don't typically dip the sheep. So they don't dip them in pesticide, and so that has multiple different things which I am not an expert on and I can't tell you about, and I won't even try to tell you about. But once I got the yarn and we got it spun and I got it back, you go through this whole chemical process. So there's different choices when you're choosing different brands of things to use. In some places you can use things like Dawn, or you could use non-scented, basically color agents. And I basically chose to go to a completely hypoallergenic route. My mother um, has suffered from allergies, and I know many people suffer from allergies. My mother is one of the only people that I have ever known in my life. She is allergic to I believe more than 100 things. It might be more than 200. She has pretty horrific allergies. And growing up in a household where I couldn't wear perfume, my mom was allergic. I couldn't wear scented deodorant. My mom was allergic. So I did not saying I didn't wear any, just got unscented basically everything my whole life. You know, dye-free, unscented detergent. And so for me, it's kind of normal, I guess, ingrained in me. And so whenever I had the choice, I chose stuff that was unscented and hypoallergenic. And what that basically means in the end is that my yarn, when you take it out of the package, I'm sorry for those of you who love to sniff and smell. It shouldn't really smell like anything. But that's on purpose, because if you are one of the people who suffer from allergies from scents of lavender or cedar or anything else, this will not bother you, or at least shouldn't. Everything is unscented and everything that is hyperallergenic. And so I just wanted to tell you that. I took a lot of time researching and trying to find stuff that was not only really high quality, but also was hyperallergenic for you guys. So while I also like to sniff yarn and I kind of miss being able to do that a little bit, I think it's well worth the sacrifice for those of you who just, I don't want to make you sneeze or break out in hives or anything. So it's just peace of mind for me. So I hope that helps at least one person out there. And then there were two updates to the shop. I've been running a week behind on what we have been updating the shop with. And so there's two things about that. There is a thread and Ravelry that I will update when the shop is updated. We're trying to do it once a week. And we just add one new color each week. And then I've been announcing it on the podcast as well after it has been up. So I'm going to actually announce two this week because I'm a week behind. So I am going to insert the pictures here, and one is of Sucker Punch, and one is of Sweet Black Cherry. So I hope you guys like those. Sucker Punch, so everything has a name, right? So Sucker Punch came about because when I looked at it, it is different shades of blue with a tiny bit of purple in it, and it looks like a bruise, to be quite honest. Like, that's what it reminds me of. And so I was sitting there with my sister and we were trying to name the colorways that I had made that day. And she's like, I don't know, what do you think? And I'm like, it looks like a bruise. And she's like, oh, we can't call it bruise. That's dumb. And so I said, what do you get a bruise from? A sucker punch. So that's how that name came about. And that's like kind of what the yarn looks like. And Sweet Black Cherry, my mom named it. And that's what she thinks it looks like. What it is a like burgundy with deep purple variation in it. And it's my mom's favorite color. So I hope you guys agree that it's awesome. Go out, take a look. And now, all done with the shop stuff. Let's do rants and raves, people. Okay. I had two things this week. I'll save my stuff for the job at the about work at the end. So if you guys don't want to listen, you don't have to. But oh my gosh. So my husband decided that he was going to go with his friend to Wyoming on like a boys trip. And they're going, and they went, they're camping, they're hoofing it. And so they decided that they needed to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning because they were driving to Wyoming. And so we went to bed that night at 11 o'clock, and his alarm went off at 2. And then he got up at 2:30, because I wouldn't have gotten up at 2 right away anyways, either. I wasn't mad about him. Mad at him about that. Wow, I can't talk. So they are getting ready, and all of a sudden my smoke detector starts like chirping. not going off, but you know when it's running out of batteries. And my smoke detectors are actually wired into my house, but they have a battery backup. And so when that battery backup starts to go, it still chirps like every other one. Not that it won't work, but if my electrical panel went out, basically they would still register the smoke. So my husband's on the way out our bedroom door, and I'm like, you have to take care of that. It's going to wake up our kid. It was right outside our bedroom door. I'm like, please. So he got a ladder. He took care of it. He left. So at 3 o'clock, he's finally gone. It takes me about 15 minutes to fall back to sleep. At 4:30, all of a sudden I hear chirp, chirp. So the fire smoke detector downstairs is totally chirping. So mad. It's already like I am not sleeping well. I've been woken up several times. So mad. So I have to go fix it. I have to go take it down. My dogs are downstairs and they're freaking out because it's super high pitched, just like that annoying loud sound that you just want to hurt somebody about. And so this is where it gets funny. So I go downstairs, I get a dining room chair, and I try to reach the fire smoke detector. And I have I think they're 14-foot ceilings. Can't reach it. So put that back. Have to go back up the stairs for the ladder that my husband had used. Took the ladder downstairs, had gotten it. So it's not a huge ladder. And I'm like all the way up, my hands extended. I'm trying to get it down. So I have it like basically dangling. And he can't figure out how to unclip it basically from the electrical. That took me about 45 seconds, which felt like 10 minutes. I know in reality it was no time at all, but however, at 4:30 in the morning, and it's chirping like right in my ear because it's hanging down. It was so loud, and I just wanted to like take a bat to it. Quite honestly, I had no patience for the thing. So I get it down. I go to the kitchen. I put it on the counter. I unscrew the back. I take out the battery, unplug the battery, put it aside. And I thought, okay, well tomorrow I'll go get new batteries. I put away everything. I walk back up the stairs. I get to the landing and it goes chirp. And I was so mad. I'm sorry, you guys. I have a cold, an awful cold from my daughter. So, anyways, I go downstairs. I'm trying so hard, like not to snap, not to swear, because I don't want my kid to wake up. Because she's got school in the morning, and my goodness, trying to get her to go to school after she woke up at 4:30 would be just a complete nightmare. So I go downstairs and I'm just staring at this thing, and I'm trying to get my wits about me. I'm tired. I'm grouchy. So I decide that it can't chirp anymore. This is the end of the chirping. So I took a towel, I wrapped it in a towel, I shoved it in a drawer, and I went back upstairs. You know, sometimes in life, it's like those awful things. It's like those things. It's such a first world problem. Like seriously, I should be happy. I even have smoke detectors, and that my smoke detectors work and keep me safe. Like I don't know why. It's so funny to me, but it was like at every turn, it was just out to get me. Like not one went off in the middle of the night, two went off, and then I couldn't get the stupid things to shut up. So that's sometimes my life. That's just my life. I try to smile and go about it. Oh, and with a good mood. Doesn't always work. So what's going on at work? So honestly, it's right up there with probably the best places I've ever worked. Um, and when people ask me like, "Oh, how's it going?" I said they're really nice, and everybody is nice, and I do feel like I fit in, which is a big plus. I mean, you never know, right? So that's been really, really nice. But what is really getting me on why this place is so wonderful to work is because all of the extra stuff that when you work in a place you hear about, right? And you know that it's possible, but you don't ever have it. Like, I can take a PDF, I can take something, scan it in, make it a PDF, and make it a fillable form. And I can type on it. Like, that's amazing. Like, I have never worked in a place that actually had that. I knew it existed. I knew it was possible, but no one ever forked out the dough for me to have the program to do that. Now, do I do that often in this job? Somewhat, yes. So it's not like it's wasted or anything, but amazing. I thought I was going to have to go get a typewriter. Or I can convert something I scanned to an Excel document. Like just little tiny things that I'm just like every time like, oh, everywhere else I ever worked, I would have had to type that out like back into Excel. And it's been pretty stellar. But the number one thing, and this has been because I have worked in either, except one other place, I have worked in small offices or for very small businesses. And so when small offices, I mean, I've worked in an office of 4 people before. And so it's tiny. And so when you work in this office that is that size, if something needs to be done, you need to do it. I mean, if the garbage needs to be taken out, you need to take out the trash. I mean, there's only 4 of you. And typically at that point, you have enough to do your job and maybe 1 or 2 small luxuries, but there's not like a lot of like admin support, right? And kind of just you're doing it, you're making it work. And so this is probably the first place that I have had any kind of extra admin support. I mean, there's just so much. It's, first of all, it's amazing. I mean, that they're being as kind to me as they are. But the second thing is there is and I'll tell you guys little nice stories of everything that goes on. But so just as an example, there's a wonderful lady at work who is just kind, a kind lady, young woman, actually, to be specific. And she is an admin, and she's an assistant. And every morning she comes by and she fills up our copier and our printer with paper and checks the toner and the ink and stuff. Like, the fact that I don't ever have to fill up a printer with paper makes me so happy. And it's not the fact that it's hard or it takes a long time or that, I'm too important to do it. I have done it every other place I have ever worked. I don't mind doing it. But the fact that I don't have to, it's like a luxury. It's like I appreciate it so much. And I think she thinks I'm crazy because I'm like, seriously, that just makes me so happy. It makes me happy that there is someone every single night that comes in and takes out my trash. Like, I just looked at them and I'm like, honestly, it makes me delighted. And they're like, well, of course, that's what happens. And I'm like, not everywhere you work. Sometimes you're taking out your own trash. Sometimes you're cleaning out the fridge. Oh gosh. So seriously, it's just like every single day I discover like a small, tiny luxury about working there that I'm like, that's so, so nice. And so I don't know. I love it. I think that I'm doing good. You don't want to ask like every 5 minutes, like, am I doing good? I am catching on, I'm getting it. And so I am very hopeful that it's just going well. And so, kind of that whole, I'm in that temporary period where, you're hired, right? But now you have to prove that they were correct in their assumption when they hired you, right? That you could do the job. So I'm still in that kind of phase. And I will be for a few months. So I'm just trying to keep my head down and do a good job and get along. And I just really like it. So I hope it all works out because it's pretty awesome. But anyways, you guys, that's it. I'm going to keep on knitting on my swatch for that sweater that I would really rather be knitting than my leaving. Isn't that always the case? And I will talk to you guys next week. I hope you have a wonderful week. Stick around for the Instagram pics at the end. And it was some love, you guys. Bye.